To grow iris flowers, select a sunny location with well-draining soil, as they thrive in full sun and need to dry out between waterings. Plant rhizomes in late summer or early autumn, ensuring the top of the rhizome is at or just below the soil surface. Water well after planting and divide clumps every few years to maintain plant health. Here's a more detailed guide. But before that, welcome to my channel. Choosing the right location and soil. Sunlight. Irises need at least 6 hours of sunlight per day to bloom well. Soil. Well-drained soil is crucial to prevent rhizome rot. If your soil is heavy, consider planting in raised beds or containers. Soil enrichment. Adding compost or other organic matter can improve drainage and provide nutrients. 2. Planting iris rhizomes. Timing. Plant rhizomes in late summer or early autumn, July-September. Depth. Plant rhizomes with the top at or just below the soil surface, ensuring the roots are well covered. Spacing. Space rhizomes 12 to 24 inches apart, depending on the variety and desired floral display. Positioning. Arrange rhizomes with the fan of leaves facing away from other plants in the group for a tidy look. Watering. Water thoroughly after planting to settle the soil around the roots. 3. Iris care. Watering. Water deeply during dry spells, but avoid overwatering, as irises don't like soggy conditions. Fertilizing. Use a balanced fertilizer, the 10th of October 10, in early spring before new growth emerges. Deadheading. Remove spent blooms to encourage more flowers and prevent seed formation. Pruning. Cut back the flower stalks after flowering, but leave the leaves until they turn yellow, as they provide energy for the next year's growth. Dividing. Divide clumps every 3 to 5 years in late summer to rejuvenate the plants. Winter protection. Apply a layer of mulch around the base of the plant to insulate the roots in colder climates. Pest and disease control. Watch out for slugs and snails, and use appropriate controls if necessary. This video will guide you through the process of planting and dividing bearded iris rhizomes. Garden irises are hardy, long-lived perennials that need a minimum of care. They are an established backbone of home gardens because they bloom when few other plants do, after spring flowering bulbs and before peonies, delphinium and phlox. Easy-to-grow iris varieties adapted to every region of the United States are available. They produce graceful flowers in a wide range of shapes, sizes and colors. Bearded, beardless, and crested irises grow from thick, underground stems, called rhizomes, that store food produced by the leaves. Rhizomes grow slightly below the surface of the ground or at ground level. Many small roots penetrate the soil deeply. Every year, underground offshoots develop from the original rhizome. Offshoots may be divided and transplanted to grow new irises. A rhizome that will produce a plant has at least one bud or growing point. Each bud produces a large fan of leaves and a flower stalk. Irises grown from rhizomes should bloom the next spring after planting. Irises may be grown from seed. A seed pod may develop below a pollinated flower that is left on the stalk after blossoming. Most seedlings do not bloom for 2 or 3 years after planting. The slow process of growing plants from seed is used chiefly by breeders to develop new varieties. Because irises are hybrids, flowers of seedlings rarely look like flowers of parent plants. Water plants often enough before blooming time to keep soil moist but not wet. Remove weeds and grass around the rhizomes. Before plants bloom, loosen the surface soil with a hoe or hand cultivator. Be careful not to injure the rhizomes or the roots. Cut flowers as soon as they fade, unless you want to obtain seeds. Plants that are growing well with good green foliage usually do not need fertilizer. If you use fertilizer, apply it immediately after plants bloom. Work it into the soil around plant bases. Use about 1/2 cup of 5-1-0-5 fertilizer for 6 small plants or about 1 cup for a large iris clump. In early fall, cut leaves 6 to 8 inches from the ground. All irises need mulch the first season after planting. Apply a light mulch of straw or evergreen boughs after the ground first freezes. Mulch prevents roots from freezing and stops the alternate freezing and thawing of the soil that harms plants by pushing them out of the soil. Irises in northern states may need mulch every year, even after they are established. Propagating irises. When plants become crowded, divide the offshoots from the rhizomes. Irises should be divided 2 to 5 years after planting. Divide and transplant irises in the late summer or early fall, after plants have bloomed. Cut leaves to 1/3 their full height. Dig under a clump of rhizomes and lift out the wild clump at once. Wash away soil with a steady stream of water. Make small divisions if you want many flowers the year after planting. Large divisions should be separated in 2 or 3 years. Cut rhizomes apart with a sharp knife. Each division must have at least one growing point or fan of leaves, a few inches of healthy rhizome, and a number of well-developed roots. When separated from the original iris clump, each division is ready to plant. Iris diseases. Iris diseases reduce the number of flowers, disfigure the leaves, and sometimes kill the plant. Prevent diseases by giving plants plenty of space, sunlight and good drainage. Clean up dead material quickly. Do not plant irises in crowded or completely shaded areas. Bacterial soft rot. Bacterial soft rot is the most destructive iris disease. Bacterial enter the plant through breaks in the rhizome. Leaf bases and rhizomes begin rotting, and the plant soon dies. Control. Dig up the diseased rhizome. If rot is extensive, destroy the iris. Cut out and discard diseased parts on less seriously affected plants. Fungus rots. Sclerotic rot, or southern blight, attacks irises in warm, humid areas. A fungus affects plants that are near the soil surface. The leaves turn yellow and dry prematurely or rot off at the base. Small, yellowish, brown seed-like structures appear. Another fungus disease, botrytis rhizome rot, occurs in cool areas. The fungus produces small, black seed-like structures on the rhizomes and in the soil. A dry, pithy, gray rot develops in the leaf bases and rhizomes. Control. Dig and burn plants that are seriously infected with either kind of fungus rot. Remove soil from the surrounding area, replace it with new or sterilized soil. Cut out the rotted areas of slightly damaged rhizomes. Iris leaf spot. Iris leaf spot disfigures leaves and weakens plants. About flowering time, infected leaves are dotted with small, brown spots. Water-soaked margins around the spots turn yellow. Spots later develop a grayish center with black fruiting tufts. The leaf spot fungus overwinters in old leaves and produces new spores in the spring. Control. If iris leaf spot has been a problem in your area, spray or dust the plants every 2 weeks from the time leaves emerge until they stop growing. Use a copper fungicide spray or Zeneb dust. Follow label directions. In mild climates, cut and burn leaves of infected plants in the fall. If leaves are not removed, the fungus may remain active throughout winter. In cold areas, remove dead foliage before shoots appear in spring. Nematode infection. Root knot nematodes and lesion nematodes are microscopic worms that attack irises and a wide range of other plants. Root knot nematodes cause distinct knots or galls on the roots. These knobby swellings on a root look like beads on a string. When lesion nematodes attack iris, the roots discolor and decay. In advanced stages of infestation, many roots rot off. Small, lateral roots that replace the rotted ones give the root system a matted or turfed appearance. Younger, newer roots are dotted with small reddish-brown spots. Control. Remove and burn plants with knotted roots or unthrifty plants with extensive root decay. Do not replant irises in the same place until nematodes have been eliminated. Treat infested soil with a nematicide. Use according to manufacturer's directions. Mosaic. Iris mosaic, the most widespread disease of irises, is caused by a virus transmitted by aphids. Diseased flowers may be mottled or striped. Light green streaks appear on the leaves of some plants. Many infected plants do not show signs of disease. Individual plants may have typical symptoms at one season of the year and appear disease-free at another season. Control. Dig up and burn irises that show severe mosaic damage. Reduce the spread of iris mosaic by controlling aphids. Iris insects. Iris borer. The iris borer causes more damage to iris than all other insects. The pink, caterpillar-like larvae have rows of black spots along their sides. They are about 1.5 inches long when full grown. Iris borer adults are large brown moths with black markings. First symptoms of borers are tear stains and chewed leaf edges that appear on leaves in early spring. Irises later develop loose, rotted bases and holes in rhizomes. Borer larvae hatch in early spring from overwintering eggs. These caterpillars pierce leaves and tunnel into the stem. Then they bore into the rhizome, where they remain to feed and grow. At maturity, larvae leave the rhizome and pupate in the soil. Bacterial rhizome rot readily attacks borer-infested plants. Control. To eliminate overwintering eggs, clean up and destroy old leaves, stems, and debris in fall or winter. To kill young, hatching larvae, apply dimethoate spray to the iris beds at 2-week intervals from time first growth starts until June 1st. To kill older larvae in fans and rhizomes, spray with dimethoate. Read the directions and heed all precautions on the container label. With aid of pointed stick or pencil, locate and destroy borers in young leaf sheaths that escape dust treatment. Transplant infested iris after it flowers. Destroy larvae and infested rhizomes and chestnut brown pupae in soil before replanting. Community effort is important in iris borer control. Aphids. Aphids, or plant lice, are small, green, pink or mealy white insects that attack many plants. Aphids may appear on iris plants in early spring. They pierce leaves and suck the juices. When they feed, they may transmit the virus that causes iris mosaic. Control. To kill aphids, spray plants with malathion. Repeat if aphids reappear. Read the directions and heed all precautions on the container label. Verbena bud moth. Larvae of the verbena bud moth tunnel into new iris shoots and buds. Larvae are about 1/2 inch long. They have greenish-yellow, worm-like bodies and black heads. Mature moths do not attack irises. Control. Cut and burn infested shoots and buds. Iris thrips. Larvae and adults of the iris thrips pierce the surfaces of young leaves and leaf sheaths. They suck juices that ooze from the wounds. Dry wounds become small, straw-colored spots. Flower buds blacken. Plant tops weaken. Iris thrips are especially injurious to Japanese iris. Larvae of iris thrips are milky white. The black-bodied adults usually are wingless. They are about 1/25 of an inch long when mature. Control. Spray plants with dimethoate 4 times at weekly intervals during May and June. Do not spray during flowering. Precautions. Pesticides used improperly can be injurious to man, animals and plants. Follow the directions and heed all precautions on the label. Store pesticides in original containers, out of reach of children and pets, and away from foodstuff. Apply pesticides selectively and carefully. Do not apply a pesticide when there is danger of drift to other areas. Avoid prolonged inhalation of a pesticide spray or dust. When applying a pesticide, it is advisable that you be fully clothed. After handling a pesticide, do not eat, drink, or smoke until you have washed. In case a pesticide is swallowed or gets in the eyes, follow the first aid treatment given on the label, and get prompt medical attention. If a pesticide is spilled on your skin or clothing, remove clothing immediately and wash skin thoroughly. Dispose of empty pesticide containers by wrapping them in several layers of newspaper and placing them in your trash can. It is difficult to remove all traces of a herbicide weed killer from equipment. Therefore, to prevent injury to desirable plants, do not use the same equipment for insecticides and fungicides that you use for a herbicide. Note: some states have restrictions on the use of certain pesticides. Check your state and local regulations. Registrations of pesticides are under constant review by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. Use only pesticides that bear the federal regulations number and carry directions for home and garden use.